So here we have a prime minister whose houses disappear after he announces them and promises disappear after he makes them.
This is a wild session. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we've got Pierre bringing up some new data that came from the Parliamentary Budget Officer showing how bad Mark Carney's housing program is really doing. And in arguing this policy and its lack of production, Carney launches personal attacks against Pierre. Pierre keeps clapping back with facts. And after Carney gets in a couple more personal attacks, does debate with the Bloc, he then just ducks out of Parliament in the middle of Pierre debating him. He outright just flees. He can't handle the debate. And Pierre calls him out to his face as he's walking out. Let's jump into this.
We learned today that 8 months after the Prime Minister was elected, promising to build nation-building projects at speeds not seen in generations, he hasn't even begun consulting with First Nations people about his promised pipeline to the Pacific. And now the Assembly of First Nations has condemned his plan because he hasn't done any consulting with them. Today he will address the Assembly. Will he for once say one thing to no matter who the group he's speaking to, be clear that he wants the pipeline to get built and that he'll get the consultations done to make it happen?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the great thing about Hansard is you can consult it and find out what the member opposite said last week. In effect, would we ram through a pipeline? No, never. No, never. We will consult free, prior, informed consent with First Nations. We will work with the province of British Columbia. We have conditions in the MOU with Alberta. We know how to work with the provinces. We know how to consult. We know how to respect. Does the member opposite?
We know exactly what his conditions are.
Must be a major investment in carbon capture. So it's a grand bargain, and that creates the possibility of accessing energy sources in Western Canada.
Nobody wants to buy our CO2. That is the problem. So spending $16 billion to pull it out of the air doesn't do anything to help our economy.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, transcripts are great things, and he just renamed Justin Trudeau's immigration minister to cabinet, the guy who destroyed our immigration system and helped double the housing costs in this country. And that minister has now had something to say about this prime minister's failure to consult on pipelines. He said the consultation should have started yesterday, and it can't be done on a desktop, making reference to his fellow ministers' promise that they would do consultations by Zoom. So why is it that he didn't start 8 months ago consulting First Nations? Is it because he doesn't care what they have to say, or because he just doesn't want the pipeline to get built?
The Right Honourable.
Mr. Speaker, I recognize this situation is very, very complicated for the member opposite.
That's right.
First off, you have to have a pipeline project. You have to have a private proponent. In order for that to happen, we had to create the conditions precedent. We have now done that because we talked to the provinces. We worked with the provinces. Mr. Speaker, in the Building Canada Act, which was passed before the member opposite returned to this House, we set out the consultation process for nation-building projects.
He's so condescending and arrogant, his giant ego. I don't know what he's thinking here. Canadians don't like someone who's egotistical and full of themselves. Him constantly taking shots at Pierre like that just makes him look like a jerk.
So he's broken his promise to get big projects built, and now we learn that he has broken his promise to get houses built. He promised during the election he would double home building to 500,000 units per year. Today, the Parliamentary Budget Officer revealed that his brand new bureaucracy will only build 5,000 homes per year. 99% less than he promised, Mr. Speaker, after Conservatives built well over 200,000 homes at half the cost today. Why won't he listen to us and stop building bureaucracy so that we can start building homes?
Mr. Speaker, the great thing about being a lifelong member of Parliament is you've never built anything and you don't know numbers.
True.
This guy here, look, is Duper's delight. More personal attacks. Tim Hodgson, this rat, is absolutely loving this too. These guys have proven themselves to be elitist, arrogant jerks. Are they laughing about Algoma Steel laying off 1,000 workers? We got Jasmine posting this, which I thought dovetailed perfectly with what I showed with Algoma Steel, the connections and ties with Brookfield yesterday, in a Globe and Mail article published August 30th, 2024. 2024. Algoma Steel highlights the massive job losses coming as they move towards green steel. So they moved over to an electric arc furnace, which I believe is completing right now or has just completed. And that's using electricity with this deal between Algoma and Prince Wind LP. Prince Wind is owned by Brookfield. Jasmine points out here, of course, tariffs took away their largest customer. And let's not pretend this all falls on Trump. Mark Carney's been lying about the jobs the green transition will create. The impact is the opposite in some of our largest sectors. It's driving jobs out of the economy. With 1,000 people laid off, I wonder how many of those liberals who voted for Mark Carney want their vote back now.
And you go. And you go.
Look at this. They're standing because he personally insulted Pierre Poilievre. This is our prime minister. And these guys attacking Donald Trump's character. Sometimes Donald Trump gets pretty nasty and snippy with reporters or with interviewers or with anyone. How is this any different?
You don't even read the PBO report, which says it will contribute to projects containing 86,868 units, 130,000 a unit. That is what we're doing, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, the only thing that member built when he was the governor of the Bank of England was the housing crisis in that country. And then he built a tax haven in the Caribbean so he wouldn't have to pay the same taxes he imposes on the Canadian people. Our youth need homes, jobs, and hope. This prime minister only offers them broken promises and more sacrifices. He even held a photo op in front of a house that was dismantled after he left it. So here we have a prime minister whose houses disappear after he announces them and promises disappear after he makes them.
Houses disappear after he announces them. Yeah, so that came out $32,000 is what they spent on moving these fake phony baloney houses into that property. Pierre is so good at bringing up every single thing Mark Carney said that is wrong, that is bad, sacrifices, nailing him on who cares. It's a matter of time before swing voters wake up here to realize that Mark Carney's destroying our country.
Mr. Speaker, the House in that announcement was sent to Nunavut. Nunavut is one of the territories of this great country. Nunavut is more than just a place where you...
Why is this like, some big gotcha moment? There's no gotcha here. You guys put a fake house there. Now it's being put on a truck and shipped up to Nunavut. So what? It was a fake announcement. That's the point. It was a lie. It's not a real construction site.
Fly in, make a photo op, don't speak to the Premier of Nunavut. Nunavut is where we are building 700 houses under Build Canada homes. Houses that are cheaper, houses that are more efficient, houses that work.
700 houses. They're bringing in millions of people every year. They're bringing in over 3 million temporary workers and students, over 350,000 new citizens per year, and over 160,000 asylum claimants per year. He's going to brag about 700 houses? Problem is getting worse. It's not getting better, and it's getting worse at an astronomical rate. This is wild here. So after the first back and forth there, Blanchette gets his time to question Carney, and then Carney starts to leave, and as Pierre gets up, he calls him out as Carney's leaving here. Look at this.
Given the absence of an agreement with First Nations who voted against this agreement this morning, does the Prime Minister not think he should make sure that all parties should be able to sign this free, prior, and informed consent? The Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, this is a memorandum of understanding with commitments, with great investments that Alberta will make in carbon capture, the industrial carbon tax 6 times greater, and also we are tightening rules in other areas.
The honorable leader of the opposition.
Mr. Speaker, you can't build homes if you run out of the house. Right. That's what the Prime Minister is doing right
Wow, this is pandemonium. Mark Carney running away from Pierre Poilievre again. This is such a bad look. He's such a weak leader. He can't even handle debating him.
The honorable leader of the opposition knows that That is very close to the line, and
No, what's close to the line is the Prime Minister not answering questions. If he can't answer them, he should be thrown out of office immediately. We've had enough of weak leadership. We have losers running our country. Mark Carney's a complete loser. He's running a grift to enrich himself. Justin Trudeau got away with so much, he's not even being investigated. Like, what the heck's going on in our country here?
Mr. Speaker, it's very sad the Prime Minister does not want to debate how we get homes for our youth. Our young people deserve homes, jobs, and hope. He was feeling very cocky a few minutes ago until he worried that I might present him with the facts. That the Parliamentary Budget Officer revealed today that his new housing bureaucracy will build only 5,000 homes per year, which is barely 1% of the 500,000 homes that he promised during the election. Construction is falling off the cliff. Why won't the Prime Minister stand in this House and debate it?
As I just showed you, 3 million people plus the refugees and immigrants every year through 300,000, 160,000. That's 500,000 right there. Add in the 3 million. That's 3.5 million people they're allowing to come into our country. And sure, some of the temporary foreign workers or some of the mobility program or some of the students will go home. Even if you cut that number in half, 1.5 million plus 500,000 is 2 million people per year. And they promised 500,000 homes per year. Make that make sense. If you had even 500,000 houses being built per year and you have 2 million coming in, you're at a net deficit of 4 times every single year. It's 400% over the limit, and we're not even at that. We're 250,000 homes per year, meaning the only way to fix this problem is to cut immigration to near zero. Stop allowing refugees from most countries, except for ones from countries that where it really is life and death. Not India, not a lot of these South Asian countries. People are taking advantage of our system. Our immigration system is so broken in this country, it's unbelievable. And Mark Carney just ran away when Pierre called him out to his face.
Mr. Speaker, for the record, the Prime Minister is doing his job, and now he's off to speak with the Assembly of First Nations, doing the job of the Prime Minister.
Oh, yeah, right. This is so weak.
Not standing in this House doing quippy quips for Twitter.
Wow, so McKinnon basically just said that whippy drips for Twitter or whatever he just said?
Doing quippy quips for Twitter.
Is that what the House is? Debating in the House is just Twitter clips and is nothing serious? Is that what he just admitted, that these House of Commons sessions are not serious, so the Prime Minister doesn't need to be there? That's essentially what he just said.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is doing his job and off to give an address and consult with the Assembly of First Nations, not doing quippy quips for Twitter with the Leader of the Opposition, which I know he would very much like to do, as he...
Quippy quips. I don't even know what that means, but if he can't debate Pierre on major issues in Canada, he should not be Prime Minister, period.
Likes to obstruct, obfuscate, and as he's shown earlier in question period, not have a single handle on a single fact about a single indicator about life in this country.
Let's speak about indicators then. I'm going to quote the Parliamentary Budget Officer. Build Canada Homes, the Prime Minister's program, is presented as part of the government's efforts to double the pace of housing construction over the next decade. That said, the government has not yet laid out an overall plan to achieve this goal. We anticipate that the contribution of Build Canada Homes will likely be modest and estimate that the program will add about 26,000 units over 5 years, representing 2.1% increase in housing completions, not the 100% increase the Prime Minister promised. Was this just another bait and switch?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, if the member opposite took the time to actually read the report, he would discover that the Parliamentary Budget Officer stated this will build 86,000 homes, affordable homes across Canada. This is the initial investment. I know it's hard for the Conservatives to understand. We're going in...
This is unbelievable. This kind of gaslighting. These guys have been in power for 10 years and things have gotten so bad. The housing situation is atrocious and they have the audacity to insult the Conservatives' intelligence, insult Canadians' intelligence. And Mark Carney launches personal attacks at Pierre Poilievre and then ducks out after the segment with the Bloc, knowing full well that Pierre wouldn't be able to clap back. This is weak leadership. These guys are all losers.
This is here. The initial phase is $13 billion, which they voted against in the budget. They're doing nothing to build homes, which matches the opposition leader's record in the past of 6 homes. So
That minister was literally the mayor of the city that became the most expensive housing market in all of North America. More expensive than New York, Los Angeles, Chicago. And now he brags that not only will they only build about 2% of the homes that they promised during the election, but they're spending $13 billion to do it, Mr. Speaker. Failing is bad. Failing expensively is even worse. So rather than having the costly mayor stand up and answer for him, will the Prime Minister have the courage to answer for himself? Where are the homes he promised?
Carney's getting slaughtered here. I mean, those facts are damning. There's no doubt about it. This whole line of questioning here and grilling is going to bring more swing voters, but it's also going to bring more youth to vote for the Conservatives because the youth are getting completely screwed in our country.
Take the city of Thunder Bay, who just last night, through their council, approved a motion to free up surplus city land for 1,400 homes, facilitated by the Housing Accelerator.
1,400 homes, as I showed you, 2.5, 3 million. Let's break that down by day. Going with the estimate of, say, half the mobility and temporary foreign workers and students go home. So 1.5 million plus new immigrants, 350,000 plus refugees. We're at 2 million people divided by 365 is 5,480 people per day. And they brag about 1,400 homes. That's not even a few hours of people coming into our country. 5,480 people. Are we building 5,500 houses per day? No. Not even close. With 250,000 homes being built per year, that's 46 days until the entire stock is gone. And all the rest is forcing our system to burst at the seams for essentially 10 and a half months, straining Canada's healthcare, schools, and housing. This is not like we're a few people over. 10 and a half months, more extra people than we can handle per year.
Mr. Speaker, that's the work of a government who's behind communities, who's behind people.
Just liars. Every day they lie.
Speaker, I want to thank the member for pointing out that we have voted against every single program that doubled housing costs in Canada.
That's right.
This Prime Minister created the biggest housing crisis in the G7 when he was the Bank of England governor. And now he's come here to adopt the same Trudeau-era policies of building bureaucracies rather than building homes. He promised this was all going to change, that the latest bureaucracy would change everything. But today, the parliamentary budget officer proved that he'll only build 2% of what he promised. Why does this Prime Minister block homes and break promises?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, it's rich for the Leader of the Opposition to speak about this. As we all know, and when he was Housing Minister and I was the Mayor of Vancouver, he built 6 homes as a Housing Minister.
This guy, what is he trying to do with this line of questioning? Little duck face here. He was the Mayor of Vancouver, which has the worst housing in Canada, in North America, as Pierre pointed out.
It's a deplorable record. And it's deplorable that the members opposite won't support a budget that has $13 billion for affordable housing.
Prager's record is deplorable. I lived in Vancouver when it went from those years where it was affordable to it wasn't. And it wasn't that long, 6-7 years, and it was a complete crap show.
We'll build 86,000 affordable homes. You won't vote for that. You won't support affordable housing, and that matches your historical record.
So they bring in 2 million people and then build 86,000 homes? They need to get a new calculator.
Mr. Speaker, it was 200,000 homes, and the average cost of buying one was $450,000, Mr. Speaker. The average rent for a one-bedroom was $900. This government came along and built bureaucracy to block homes and printed money to inflate their costs. They allowed mass immigration that was out of control, that ballooned demand, and left us with the worst and most expensive housing anywhere in the G7. And today, the parliamentary budget officer blew the lid off their latest promises, showing that they will build about almost none of the homes that they actually promised in the last election. Why won't the Prime Minister stand in the House and take account for that?
The Honourable Governor.
Mr. Speaker, the lid's been blown off, but the lid's been blown off the tired lines of the Leader of the Opposition, which he's been using for 2 years.
Is that what this is? Tired lines? People are losing their houses. I don't understand how anyone can vote for these guys.
He has systematically stood in the way of investments in supportive, in social, in low-cost and low-income housing in this country throughout his exclusive 20-year career in this House of Commons. He has systematically stood in the way of supports like dental care, like child care, like the Canadian
It's interesting. They're doing a lot of personal attacks on Pierre. I think this is a new strategy change that somebody, whoever their communications expert is, probably in preparation for Pierre's leadership review, is not going to change anything. I don't know what they think they're doing with this. It just makes them look like they're hiding something. They're afraid of the guy, and it makes them look like jerks.
Benefit, like school nutrition, the very things that he fakes and pretends to care about in this House, but would vote against, and Canadians know he would vote against everything with care in the name, Mr. Speaker. He needs to...
The Honourable.
Mr. Speaker, it is impossible for us to vote against affordable housing because there is no affordable housing after 10 years of this Liberal government. Now, one positive idea we could all agree on is to reduce the cost of the steel, the concrete, the cement, the glass that goes into building homes. But unfortunately, this Liberal government has an industrial carbon tax whose stated purpose is to raise the cost of all of those things. Why won't they accept this positive idea to take taxes off home building so that our youth can finally have homes, jobs, and hope like this?
Mr. Speaker, yesterday it was distressing to see member of parliament after member of parliament from the Conservative side vote against and argue against relieving consumers of the price of carbon, which we have, as you know,
You can't make this stuff up. First, they say the carbon tax is an affordability measure. Now they're relieving us from this burden of the carbon tax. Which one is it?
Mr. Speaker, the industrial carbon tax is not just a tax on homes, it's a tax on food. When you tax the steel that goes into farm equipment and the fertilizer that is necessary to grow food, when you tax the food processor, you tax the food. No wonder that since this Prime Minister took office, food prices have increased roughly 40% faster in Canada.
This is really wild that they're trying to silence him. He talks about industrial carbon tax and all the Liberals start getting loud, trying to silence his speech here.
They have in the United States. Canadians deserve affordable, nutritious, delicious food on their plate. Will the Prime Minister stand up now and agree to get rid of the industrial carbon tax so that Canadians can afford to eat?
Yeah. The Honourable Governor.
Here we go again, Mr. Speaker. Here we go again with the imaginary taxes. And as my colleague just said, when presented with
Imaginary taxes. It is literally in the name, industrial carbon tax. This is a real tax that exists on industry. What is he even talking about?
the opportunity to vote for a tax cut for every single income taxpayer in this country, they say no. When they get a chance to vote to cut the GST, to remove it on the GST for first-time home buyers, they say no. When they get the chance to vote for the removal of the consumer carbon tax, what do the Conservatives say? No, Mr. Speaker. When the time comes to vote to give Canadians a break, what do the Conservatives say?
This has become a complete clown show. The Liberals are a bunch of liars. They've always been liars and they will always be liars.